All right, guys. So y'all remember that Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot that took place last fall, right before the election, in the midst of the lockdowns? Okay, y'all remember that? Yeah, that story has got extremely interesting. Now, if you recall, there was a kidnapping attempt or plot in which I think a group of 5 or 6 men were arrested because they plotted to kidnap the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, because they were upset with her COVID lockdown restrictions. Now, when this happened, obviously the media tried to blame this on Trump. They tried to say, well, this is Trump's fault. Okay, Trump refuses to condemn hate groups, blah, 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 blah. Even though there was no evidence that these people were even Trump supporters at all. Okay, they probably were just anti-government people, right? They were anti-government. They may have been closer to Antifa in terms of ideology than Trump supporters, to be quite honest with you. So, with that being said, at the time when this happened, when it was caught, the media and the government used this as a shining example of how the FBI is doing its job, right? Why these government institutions are so important and why we should give them more power, right? This is why they should be able to spy on us. This is why they should be allowed to do what they do. So just keep that in mind as we go throughout this story. Again, as it has taken a twist, as the men accused of setting up the Whitmer kidnapping plot say that the FBI set them up. They say that they were entrapped by the feds, all right? So let's read a little bit more here. The men who are accused of attempting to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer are saying the FBI set them up, according to court filings, evidence, and dozens of interviews seen by BuzzFeed News. There were at least 12 FBI informants involved in the investigation into the group for months while they were allegedly planning to kidnap the governor. The FBI's involvement was much bigger than previously known, as the agency was involved when the plot began and had informants allegedly encouraged the group to further its plan, BuzzFeed News reported. An Iraq war veteran informant rose to second in command of the group and paid for travel for members of the kidnapping plot to meet together. He also told members to work together and help the person in charge advance the plan. So far, one defendant has accused the agency of entrapment, claiming the informants encouraged the group and even led military-style trainings for the plot. Other defendants are expected to make similar claims at their trials in the next few months. This would not be the first time the FBI has been accused of entrapment, as one group that was allegedly planning to murder police officers was acquitted after claiming the FBI led the charge in the plan, according to the outlet. There are mixed feelings regarding informants, as some say they help stop domestic terrorists, but have in the past falsified evidence, committed murder, and entrapped innocent people, BuzzFeed News noted. The group allegedly plotted to kidnap the governor because they were upset with the coronavirus restrictions she put on the state. Okay, so yes, they're accusing the FBI of setting them up, right? Of encouraging them to do this, to carry out this plot. Now, in the BuzzFeed article, it goes into more details. It goes as far as to say that this plot would have never happened had it not been for the FBI in the first place, right? Like, they help coordinate things, again, give trainings, do all types of things to help facilitate this activity, as if the FBI wanted this to happen. And essentially, this would be a case of the FBI setting up this kidnapping plot just for them to foil it, okay, and to look like heroes and save the day to justify them getting more power, right? That's kind of what it sounds like. And I would not be surprised at all if that's the case, as this case gets a little bit more sketchy, right? As an FBI agent involved in the Whitmer kidnapping case is arrested following a domestic event. So let's read about this. The arrest of an FBI agent credited with helping thwart a plot to kidnap and kill Governor Gretchen Whitmer complicates one of the most closely watched cases of violent extremism that is becoming increasingly focused on allegation of wrongdoing by investigators. FBI Special Agent Richard Trask, 39, of Kalamazoo, was charged Monday with assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder, following a domestic incident with his wife Sunday. He was released on a $10,000 personal reconnaissance bond following an arraignment in 8th District Court of Kalamazoo and faces a charge punishable up to 10 years in prison. So the Fed's about to do some Fed time. Woo! His arrest comes at a critical juncture in the criminal case against 5 men charged in federal court with plotting to kidnap Whitmer. Defense lawyers last week leveled a broad attack on the foundation of the high-profile case and suggested a second FBI agent was trying to sabotage defense teams. Trask, 39, who worked for the FBI since 2011 and served as the FBI's public face in the Whitmer's case, testifying in federal court about investigation. He has worked on cases involving espionage, terrorism, and domestic extremism investigations. Whew. Sounds like he needs to investigate himself for the domestic violence and terrorism that he may be causing in his own house, right? His own household, right? That's what it sounds like. Quote, "It's the last thing you want for a major case like this," said Andrew Arena, former special agent in charge of the FBI's Detroit office. "Anytime you give the defense any ammunition, it's not good. Details about the event were not available. Trask did not respond to a message seeking comment Monday, and there was no defense lawyer listed in court records." Court filings revealed a defense strategy that involves suppressing evidence, attacking the work of FBI agents, and claiming FBI informants entrapped men accused in the conspiracy. 5 men are awaiting an October trial in a federal court in Grand Rapids, though one defendant has asked U.S. federal district judge Robert Junker to move the trial out of Michigan, arguing media conduct and coverage had corrupted the potential trial atmosphere. The arrest is the second potential problem in the case to emerge in recent months. In March, prosecutors indicated an informant who sources say helped the FBI infiltrate the alleged conspiracy, a rare legal development. The indictment of Wisconsin resident Stephen Robeson, after a prolonged period of cooperation, suggests the relationship between Robeson and the FBI is destroyed and that prosecutors do not plan on using him at trial, legal experts said. But defense lawyers can try to call him as a witness and attack Robinson's credibility. Wow. So apparently they already had an informant, and this prior informant was indicted before. So now that he was indicted, the prosecutors are like, we can't really use this guy, right? We really can't call him up at trial. But defense lawyers can basically try to attack his credibility because some of the things that the prosecutors are using against the defense is based off what this informant has given to them. Now, this arrest right here for this Trask individual, the actual FBI agent, that potentially smears somebody else that can be used against the defense. Okay, so prosecution, it seems to be running into some issues with credibility in regards to their informants. Trask testified in federal court in January against Delaware resident Barry Croft, an accused plotter who is portrayed as the group's bomb maker. Trask identified Croft as a national leader of the Three Percenters, a small militia that participated in January 6 insurgents at the U.S. Capitol. During the court hearing, Trask helped provide context about multiple undercover recordings that included Croft. At the time, prosecutors wanted Croft held without bond, saying he was a violent extremist. Defense lawyers have portrayed their clients as tough talkers who were exercising their First Amendment rights, who never carried out any kidnapping plotting attempt. All right, guys. So as you can see there, this is kind of crazy, right? It looks like the feds may or may not have set these guys up. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But at the same time, you also have FBI agents and informants whose credibility has been questioned, right? I mean, there's some serious questions about these guys, right? Now, here's the thing. Like I said, I don't really know that much about this, but I will say this. I would not be surprised if this was an FBI plot, right? I wouldn't be surprised if they participated in radicalizing these people, right? Because that is kind of a part of what would be an incentive for a federal agency to do, okay? Because, again, if you want to get more funding, right, you want more jobs, then you have to have things like this happening to justify it, right? It's the same thing that happens with foreign terrorism, right? A lot of the terrorists in the Middle East, okay, a lot of these guys have been trained by the U.S., right? We've trained some of these guys to fight proxy wars for us, specifically against Russia, right, in countries like Afghanistan. And then after they got done with that, they turn around and use the weapons on us, right? So there are times when, we do create our own extremists, right? And I think people will be naive to believe that the federal government is not a participant in creating extremism. For as much as they want to talk about right-wing extremism and things like that and trying to, point out specific groups, the government could be involved in making those groups even more radicalized than they already are, right? And the reason why is because it helps them get more funding, right? It helps them gain more power. It helps them take away more liberties and rights from the American people, right? Under the disguise of trying to keep people safe, right? When they're the ones that's really making people less safe. So again, I wouldn't be surprised, but we really don't know, right? This is just, stuff that comes from BuzzFeed. And this is what the defense is accusing the FBI of doing. So we will see, but let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share. A Black conservative perspective. Peace.